Alright, here we go. Yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here. Well, let's run over it. Alright, so here is the clip of me finally getting 99 agility. Man, this was one heck of a grind, and I'm doing a bit of a voiceover now. I know I also talked about doing a little, get-together celebration kind of thing, but this was super late at night last night. I was rocking the baby to sleep, and I was like, you know what, I just want to finish agility. But first, let's roll the intro. What's up, guys? My name's Local. I'm trying to reach RuneScape's endgame while juggling real-life responsibilities. From a full-time job to starting a family, my goal is to show how it's possible for anyone to accomplish their goals in RuneScape with a little bit of perseverance. Oh man. Look at those fireworks. The level 99. I cannot believe that we are done. Alright, why not visit Captain Izzy Nobeard at the Brimhaven Agility Arena? Alright, sounds good. Well, yeah, let me go ahead and finish this lap just in case we manage to get the pet. Another 99 with no pet, so hopefully I can get lucky on at least one of these skills here. But yeah, I don't know, this feels so liberating. But all right, let's talk about the actual grind. While we're here, just going and grabbing the cape. I've always been a fastest and laziest way there kind of guy. So, my early game strategy was pretty standard. Just do the best roof you can until Canifis. Once I unlocked that, I stayed there until I had enough marks of grace to piece together the graceful outfit. Because this was years before the latest run energy changes, and again, not too different from what anyone would tell you there. So after that, I stuck with the best rooftop that I could access, basically bouncing between Sears Village, Falador, whatever I could to hit 70 for Song of the Elves back in 2019. Once I did hit 70 and finish Song of the Elves, I moved on to the Prifddinas course, which I actually kind of enjoyed. Trying to hit a personal best lap time with the portals and stuff, I thought that was kind of fun. But honestly, I don't really remember when I stopped there because I wasn't really keeping too good a track of my progress, but at some point there I decided, okay, I want to max my account and I wanted a more efficient way to do it. That is when I picked up Barbarian Fishing, so I trained my fishing, sure, but while I was there I was able to rack up Agility XP passively like a whopping, I think it's 5k an hour that you get there. So I managed to get all the way to 88 Agility doing that. So at that point, I jumped back into actual agility training with Ardoin Rooftops, using Summer Pies to boost up to 90. From there, I just pretty much mixed up with a few runs of the Hallowed Sepulcher whenever I had time, and I even actually tried the Colossal Worm course at one of your recommendations, but that ended up, not really being not really being what I wanted it to do. It was just a little bit slow for me, even though it was a little bit more AFK. Also, shout out to Achievement Diary XP lamps. Definitely cashed a few of those in when I was close to a level and didn't feel like clicking another lap. So here's the thing, right? I didn't really start seriously grinding agility until after my daughter was born, which meant this wasn't going to be easy. Agility is one of the slowest yet most click-intensive skills in the game. Most of my training happened in between moments, right? Like while I was at work, making calls, or rocking the baby to sleep, or just those, late night feeds where I'd have one hand on a bottle and the other one tapping green boxes. It was really less about focus and more about fitting it in wherever I could. Honestly, agility gets a bad rap, and to be fair, it kind of deserves it. The XP rates are slow, it's insanely repetitive, and there's no big dopamine hit from a nice drop. Really just endless laps, right? So, with agility being one of the more click-intensive skills, the hardest part about it was being able to do it at work. And there was one thing that actually made it much more doable for me. That thing was this new little feature on Mac OS called iPhone mirroring. I don't know if, I feel like a lot of people haven't heard about this, but I believe it came out last September or so, but it actually gives you the ability to mirror your iPhone to your Mac screen and control it from there. So obviously this will only work if you have an iPhone, your work gives you a MacBook, your software is up to date, and you can sign into your Apple ID on it. But hey, assuming you meet those criteria, this will work great. You might be wondering, why not just use RuneLite? And the obvious answer to that for me is that most companies don't let you download any third-party software they don't approve of onto their machines. So this is built right into the Max software, so it works wonders. Now back to agility. There are some nice things about it, like the fact that I could do Sepulcher if I wanted higher XP rates. Agility doesn't punish you for going AFK mid-lap. I could just log in, do a few laps, log out. No stress, right? Really, there's this pressure in the old school community at times to do everything the efficient way, but frankly, I didn't really care too much about that. I just saw this as the thing that I did to distract myself when I had some time. It's not really about perfection, it's mostly just about persistence, right? There were definitely days where the progress was very slow. Real life comes first, always. But again, I wasn't aiming for that tick-perfect efficiency. I was just going for consistency, right? And honestly, that's frankly what made the difference, right? Just stacking little bits of progress over time, that's really what gets you there. So if you're considering maxing your account and you're in a similar position as I am, I highly recommend you just get this skill out of the way as soon as you can. Just whenever you have time, run some laps on your phone, get this skill over with. I know it seems daunting, like anytime I watch a guide about maxing, they always talk about doing agility first, but I seriously cannot recommend it enough. Just get it out of the way. I know that agility doesn't really unlock anything game-changing. It's not like, hitting 99 Slayer, getting better bosses or anything, but, it definitely feels different, right? It's one of those skills that takes actual commitment, right? There's no shortcut. There's, the fastest XP rate is like 100k with max efficiency per hour. So really, you just have to show up over and over again, right? For me, personally, that's what made it so satisfying. I didn't just get 99 agility, right? I got it while working full-time, while becoming a dad, while figuring it out, one day at a time, right? And that's what makes this cape one of my favorites, despite how ugly it is. Honestly, the blue and the red look so bad together. But hey, to anyone out there grinding a slow skill, feeling like you're never going to hit that goal, just keep going. It does add up, even if it is just one small lap at a time. Alright, so now that we are done with agility, I'm just going on a spending spree, just getting rid of all of these marks of grace that I had. I think I had almost 3,000, maybe even a little over that. Hopefully there's not a better use for these. Frankly, just buying amylase crystals to sell them on the Grand Exchange just to, make a little bit of money. But let's talk about what's next. Now, I know I've talked a little bit about construction, among other things, but you may have actually seen what I'm working on next if you were paying attention a few minutes ago. I am actually going to be working on mining next. I think ultimately the reason for that comes down to money, really, right? Like, I don't have a ton of money right now if I'm going to be, saving up for a rebuild. So I want to do mining to make a little bit of profit. And I'm actually working on it as we speak. While I'm editing this video, I have mining up on my other monitor, and what I am loving it, man. The fact that I can, I finally have a skill that I can actually AFK. Man, agility was so click intensive, dude. Mining is already, I've only been doing it for a couple hours, but it is so refreshing to do something that actually gives me some freedom from my screen, right? So I think I'm probably going to end up doing mostly motherlode mine, I think. The reason for that is, it's some pretty good money, right? And the XP per hour the wiki says about 50 to 55k. But obviously that may be different depending on like how busy I am, right? So I think next week I'll have a good report for you on what my actual XP rates are. We'll do some math and figure out how long it should take me based on my level of consistency. But let's finish selling these amylase crystals here, man. A good 32 mil from agility, right? I mean, I was 100% free. Didn't have to spend any resources for that, so got a nice little 64 mil cash stack. But anyway, yeah, mining is next, and we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But thanks again for watching, guys, and you guys have a good weekend. Thanks.